In this box right here, I got my next bike for the channel. It's a budget enduro bike. It cost me less than $3,000. So let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed, put together, and then we'll take a look at it. I've ordered direct-to-consumer bikes in the past, like my YT Capra Elite, but this time I was going for a more budget-friendly build. Now, $3,000 is still a lot of money to spend on a mountain bike, but when you're looking for an enduro bike that can handle really everything you throw at it, that's about as low as you can go and still get decent enough parts and components to be able to handle those type of trails. So let's go ahead, get this bike built up, and then stay tuned to the end. I'll give you guys a full walkthrough of all the parts and components that come on this bike, as well as future upgrades that I have planned. All right, let's see what all comes in this bag right here, because I'm kind of hoping that they give you some actual tools to put this thing together. So I'm just a little bit disappointed that they don't send you any kind of toolkit at all with this. I have tools to put this bike together, but I think for somebody ordering this thing offline, if you're a brand new rider and this is your first mountain bike, it'd be kind of nice, like the way YT sends you like an actual little tool, you know, the tools you need with the shock pump and the little torque tool, everything you need to be able to build that bike and put it together. So kind of just a little bit disappointed. That's not on Marin, that's on Jensen USA. They're where I got this from, but it'd be kind of nice to have a little toolkit come with this bike, ordering it offline direct to consumer. Now, when throwing this bike on the stand to start building it, I always like to throw a shop rag on there just to make sure that I'm protecting the dropper post. Don't want to mar this thing up, especially with a brand new bike like this. So unfortunately, I'm having to use my YT tools that came with my YT Capra. Since this bike didn't come with any tools to put the thing together, I'm gonna go ahead and reach out to Jensen when I get done making this video and ask him if that's something they could change, because I really think that when you're buying a bike, like I said offline, it should come with at least some basic tools to be able to get it done. I get it, I only paid $3,000 for this bike, but I don't think it's asking too much, and it's free branding for them if they throw their logo on it. All right, so looking at these cables, you can tell there's quite a bit of slack, and one might want to go ahead and take off this dropper post lever and run the cable around these lines, but I still haven't raised the height of this dropper post, and when that post comes up, it's gonna pull a little bit more of the slack out of that dropper post cable, so we'll see how things turn out. So up here on the front of the bike, you see that little orange piece of plastic right there inside of the brake calipers? You're definitely gonna wanna keep that. That's good for future use if you wanna take off your front wheel to be able to travel with your bike. All right, next I went ahead and grabbed a set of snips to snip off these zip ties, remove the rest of the packaging, and get that front wheel ready to install. Now, when putting on that front wheel, I got a tip for you guys. It can be kind of a pain to get things all aligned just right. So if you're having any issues, sometimes it's easier just to flip the bike over. Doing that is gonna keep the bike a little bit more stable, allow you to spread those forks apart if you need to, and get everything lined up. So if you're having any issues getting that front wheel on, use this technique, it can help out. Now, moving on from there, it's time to disc the reflectors and the dork disc. What I like to do for the dork disc is go ahead and just grab those same set of snips and snip it on both sides right there, and it should pretty much fall off as long as you have that thing removed from the spokes. Now, for the pedals on this bike, I got their Cro-Mag Daga pedals off my Truck Slash. Definitely not budget. I think these things are about $190, but it's what I got for now. And when installing those pedals, remember, rotating the pedals towards the front of the bike tightens, back of the bike loosens. Now that I got the pedals on, it's a good time to check the shifting. So I went ahead and shifted all the way up to the top, making sure that chain's not falling over, and then shifted right back down to the bottom, just kind of checking how this thing is shifting and to make sure those stops are set to where I'm not dropping a chain. Now for the water bottle on this bike, I got this cage right here. I'll throw a link down below in the description, and just want to take a moment to highlight this extension it's got on this toe peak tool. I love that little extension to the bit right there. It helps you get into those hard to reach spots. Now I just got one more reflector to remove on the rear of this bike, and then it's time to get this thing set up to ride. And the first thing I chose to do was go ahead and get that dropper post set at the right height This is a size extra large bike, so it does come with a 175mm dropper, but for me, I still had to raise it up just a little bit more to get that seat up high enough. And the position you're going to want to look for in this, if you guys haven't done this before, is you want your knee to still be able to have a slight bend in it. Now after that, I went ahead and wiped off the excess grease and then grabbed my torque bit from this toe peak tool, because you don't want that thing tightened down so much that it affects the way the dropper post travels, but you definitely don't want it too loose. Now moving on to the bars, let me show you the technique I use to get my cockpit set just right. Starting on one side of the bike, I get that thing moved out far enough for one finger braking, and then kind of get on the bike and lean back to get it kind of angled just right. Then squeeze that brake lever to keep it in that position while I go ahead and tighten it down. Now on this bike, it's got the Shimano iSpec EV, so it's got that shifter lever mounted right to the bottom of the brake lever. So I went ahead and slid that over, and what I'm looking for on this is I'm looking for it to be close enough to my thumb to be able to shift easily, but not so close to where it's gonna get in the way if my hand's rotating around the bars, like when I'm hitting big drops or jumps, because you definitely don't want to be accidentally shifting if your thumb's smashing into that stuff. Then once I get everything tightened back down and I have one side set just right, go ahead and grab out something to measure with. I was using a set of calipers right here, and then just mirror those settings on the opposite side, and everything should feel good. Of course, you're probably gonna wanna bring a wrench with you in your first couple rides when you head out on the trails to be able to make those fine-tuned adjustments. Now on this bike, for the dropper post lever, I went ahead and had to move this to the other side of the brake lever right there to get it set just right. Once again, making sure it's close enough to be able to hit that dropper post, but not so close to where it's gonna run into my thumb. And there you go, guys. The Marin Alpine Trail 7, fully built up, less than $3,000. Super stoked on this bike. Looking forward to the future ride and review videos we got coming on this channel. Check out those graphics. I love the orange on there. You can see the Series 4 aluminum, the Alpine Trail back there on the seat stay with that bright orange. I am gonna throw some ride wrap on that frame. Got some budget ride wrap that I got. So those videos will be coming up. You can see the Alpine Trail graphic up top. That cool little mountain logo. Like that little logo up there. It's got that chrome head badge. How do you guys feel about that? Kind of wish that the head badge was maybe orange as well, or black. I don't know. Chrome, you think chrome looks good? Guess there's some little chrome accents with like the rotors and stuff like that. Got the orange Marin down on the bottom down tube right there. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna do a nice clear ride wrap all along this frame so that you don't cover that up and you can still see that good, but you got good shuttle protection for throwing this thing on the back of the truck. Got that bottle cage that I threw on there, right-handed access. This bike comes with that Shimano Dior drivetrain cassette. Got the FSA cranks. I threw my Chromag Daga pedals on there. These things are definitely not budget. I think these are like $190 pedals that I took off my Trek Slash. I just love these things, the amount of grip. You look at the pins and you think, man, you do not want to slip a pedal on that. It'll gouge your shins. But actually I found that because it has so many pins and the pins are so thick, it prevents you from slipping the pedal. So moving on up from the drivetrain, let's go ahead and take a look at these wheels. These are the Flow Snap 29 by 2.5 top 40 compound tubeless ready. So I will be doing a tubeless conversion on this bike. That's another one of the upgrades I'll be doing right away. Things that, I mean, not necessarily upgrades, but just things you should do for any bike is doing the tubeless upgrade and doing the ride wrap to protect that frame. Got the Flow Snap tire up front as well, same size, 29 by 2.6. Wait, 2.6 up front, 2.6 in the rear, so I think I misspoke. So it's got 2.6s, so some wide tires, pretty wide tires, really aggressive tread on these tires. Looking at the suspension that this bike has got, so you got the RockShox Deluxe Select Rear shock, no piggyback on that thing. Got the minimum settings with just the rebound and then the climb switch right there to firm it up. For the fork, you got the RockShox Yari fork, 160 mils of travel up front. This bike's got 150 mils of travel in the rear, so right in the middle, right what you want to see for that enduro bike range. And just got the basic compression adjustments right there on the top. So just one compression on the top, so just that low speed compression, and then one rebound dial on the bottom. So this fork shouldn't be that hard to get dialed in. This is the newer model of this fork, so it does got the debonair spring, so it should be nice and plush. And as always with RockShox, you got the markings on the side, make it really easy to set your sag on the fork and on the rear shock like that. So you gotta love it. Moving on, just got the Trans-X dropper post. I will say that when I was moving this dropper post up and down, when I was setting it to my height, it did feel a little bit rough, not quite as smooth as the Trans-X dropper that I had on my Slash. So we'll see how that thing holds up. I got the Marin grips. These things are a little bit slim for my liking, so I probably will throw a different set of grips on here. Got the Marin saddle as well. Contact points, ladies and gents, contact points. So saddle, grips, pedals, those are definitely things that you want to know what you like and get just right. Saddle, I can usually deal with a stock saddle for a little bit, but grips and pedals is something that I'm kind of picky about. So we'll see how it goes with these grips. I already got something in mind I'm going to be replacing these with, because Brian from BKXC has some pretty cool components, Trail One components. So I'd like to throw a set of orange Trail One grips on there. What do you think? Just a touch of orange. I don't want to go orange crazy, but a set of orange Trail One grips on there kind of match with those orange decals that we got going right here on that head cap. That's one of the things I like about this bike. As I always say in my videos, get stoked, go ride, and have fun. And this bike is made for fun. I know it's upside down. Up on the front, got these Shimano brakes, 4-piston brakes, but they're kind of like the lowest model. Big old levers on there, so they're kind of made more for 2-finger braking than 1-finger braking. Did my best to get those things set up just right, but still got the 4-piston brakes with the 203 rotor up front and the 180 rotor in the rear right there. So should give me good enough stopping power. Shouldn't be an issue, but that's always something I could look into upgrading at a later date in time. A couple complaints that I have is, one, I think it should have came with the toolkit if you're ordering this bike direct to consumer. If this was your first mountain bike, it'd be nice to get a little toolkit. I was using the one partially that YT gave me when I got my Capra a while ago to put this thing together. And then I did find, another complaint I have is I did find already some chips, little chips in the paint back here. I mean, this is an enduro bike. I'm gonna be smashing this thing down some gnarly terrain, so it's not the end of the world for me. I could always throw some little touch-up paint on there. It's just, you know, plain gloss black, so it shouldn't be too hard to match up. And I'm gonna throw some ride wrap on there, so not a big deal. If you guys got any questions, leave a comment down below. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to know. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, get stoked, go ride, and have some fun, people. Track stand challenge. Oh, hold it. Hold it. Oh, I suck.